Good afternoon. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education regular board meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Board members, I call your name. Could you please reply by present? Trustee King.
Present.
Treasurer Luna.
Present.
Trustee Relaford.
Here.
Vice President Clack is absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer McIntyre.
Present.
Secretary Perkins absent. Myself, Mike Neal, President, present. 5 yes, 2 absent. I would like to know if the board has any objection to amending the agenda to remove the personnel recommendation for Holmes Middle School Assistant Principal at the request of the superintendent.
So moved. Oh, wait, so you didn't require a motion, you were just saying to...
Not
okay.
a motion, we just.
Got it.
If you guys agree to this, then if everybody, there's no objection to,
Okay, yeah,
then we
I got
can
you.
go to the regular agenda. Is
Thank
there
you.
an objection? Thank you. I will not call upon, can you do this for me? Secretary Perkins is not here, it would be you, McIntyre, to read the district mission statement.
District's mission statement. It is the mission of the Flint School District to develop a community of learners who are prepared to live, work, and contribute in an ever-changing society. Flint Board of Education standards of practice. In order to provide outstanding leadership and better serve the Flint community schools, we, the members of the Flint Board of Education, commit to the following standards of practice. 1, we will be consistent in our dealings with each other, as well as students, staff, and community.
We will model trustworthiness and honesty in our relationships with each other, with our superintendent, and with our constituents.
We will focus on a common goal of providing the best education possible for the students in the Flint Community Schools.
We will respect the diverse views that each of us bring to the organization, as well as the views of others that we interact with as we carry out the business of the Board of Education.
We'll be open and authentic with each other, our staff, and community.
As we work to make decisions, we will focus on issues, not personalities.
Our decisions will be student-centered and based on objective facts.
We will practice good listening skills to better understand our fellow Board of Education members and constituents. I seek a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the April the 3rd, 2024 special board meeting, April the 10th special board meeting, and the board committee of the whole meeting, April the 17th, your regular board meeting, and the April 30th special board meeting, Neola workshop.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes for the aforementioned board meetings.
Madam Chair, second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any correction? Are there any correction? Seeing none, the motion to approve the minutes will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, say yes or no. Secretary Perkins is absent. Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Myself, President Mike Neal. 6 yes, 1 absent. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on the matter within authority of the
Point of
board and
information.
not address.
Madam Chair, you forgot to vote.
Oh, did I? I'm so
You just
tired. I've
called-
been in a
you just
meeting
called
all
your
day.
name. You didn't say what you voted. You just called your name.
No, we voted to approve the minutes.
What's your vote?
You didn't say what your vote was.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, thank you. I appreciate that. The board will now hear the comments from the public. Please state your name and your address before you begin to speak. The presiding officer of the board shall have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject.
Good evening. I'm Judge Herman Marable from 67th District Court, Division 5, which covers the city of Flint. And we are all elected from the exact same election district, city of Flint. And I want to say good evening. I think I know most of you here. And I want to speak on two issues. One, the Judge Marable Student of the Month program. I'm going to be really quick about that. Student of the Month program was founded in 2004. We've had somewhere in the neighborhood of 125 students recognized over the time period. COVID gave us a huge hit. When schools were closed, we couldn't get kids to sign up, and we didn't discontinue the program. It's still continuing. So if there are students who are in the 10th grade, 10th graders only, you have time before the year is out. Go to judgemarable.net. And by the way, I'll just mention, it's been quite a while since we've had anybody from Flint schools be a Judge Marable Student of the Month. And there's no need for it to be that way. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is driver's education. Been a judge here for 24 years, almost a quarter of a century. Prosecutor before that for 9 years. When driver's ed was taken out of the schools, a terrible thing has happened. We have, and I've been there for 24 years, so I've watched the evolution of this. We have generations of people who live in our town who do not have a driver's license. And I'm not talking about teenagers and 20-year-olds. I'm talking about people in their 40s and 50s who don't have a driver's license, have never had a driver's license, or got suspended when they were young because they were driving when they weren't supposed to, couldn't afford to pay their fines, and wow, you know, they are trapped in this situation. They got rid of driver responsibility laws a couple of years ago, but that hasn't fixed the problem. And, you know, most employers require you to have a driver's license, not because they want to know if you can drive to work, but it's a test of responsibility. They figure if you can't keep up a driver's license, like 8 million people in Michigan do, maybe you're not responsible enough to be hired here. If you were to reinstate driver's ed, and you might be the only school district in the county to do this, you could charge people from charter schools and the other districts to do this. The driving range, I think, is still out there at Northwestern, or at least it could be put back. I know I got 1 second left, but you let me finish a little bit? Okay. You come to my courtroom, and some of you have been in my courtroom. On criminal day, you see, you know, and this is all the courtrooms down there, just person after person, no license, suspended, can't get a job. Had a guy the other day, owes maybe $1,500 in fines. My thought was to say, hey, get a second job to pay those fines off. But he can't drive to a second job. And guess what? We have the gig economy now, right? We have people who drive Uber. We have people who deliver DoorDash. I'm wrapping up. We can't even have people who can do those things, okay? This is a serious problem in an economically depressed community like we have. Reinstate driver's ed. Let's make some revenue for the school district. Let's get people with something that they're going to be able to use that will put them on the tax rolls and pay taxes when you have a declining school base, so they can pay taxes to go to the school district. Think about it. That's it.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jane Lee, and we are located at Northwestern. And this is my daughter, Marcy, who has just now been coming. And I want to thank you, Dr. Ellis, for coming and seeing us and inviting us to come here. We've been in the schools since the early 70s, and our group is called Let's Sew for Flint Kids. And we do hats and mittens for the kids, for the preschoolers. We do accident pants for the kids, because a lot of times the parents don't come and the child has to sit there wet and dirty, okay? So we do that. And I was just at Doyle Ryder about a month ago, and some of the kids did not have blankets, and here we make blankets. They were laying there on their mats with their coats over them. And how sad that some kids have it and some don't. And same way at Pierce. Some of the kids, I went there with 2 diaper bags for one of the young parents. And I saw this teacher across from me, and I asked her, is there something, that I can bring you? I said, does your kids have blankets? She said, not all of them. Some parents just can't bring it. They don't have it. So I want to make sure my group here of ladies, that these preschoolers and these young mothers with newborn babies get what they need. And here they get diapers. I'm out of wipes, so they didn't get no wipes in this bag. They get a quilt that we made. This diaper bag, the lady used to be a Flint person, comes from Lansing. She's 84 years old, who makes these diaper bags. And a teacher, a principal from Grand Lake, she comes in and makes our quilts for us, even though it's just for Flint. And they get 2 little outfits that we've made. Everything is made, except for the diapers. And so, and we even help the City of Hope, because there are young mothers that are not in school that we don't have any contact with. We have contact with Southwestern, the Storts Club, where a sorority of women run it, and they call us when they need it. And so I just want to tell you how happy we are that we get to stay and not be moved, because we've been to a lot of the schools, a lot of the units, and we're getting older and we don't like packing. So I want to thank you, and we are trying to get a grant, because a lot of this stuff comes from these ladies, from their own stashes in their own pockets, because we don't have any grant money anymore. So if anybody has any suggestions where we could go and get this stuff, because we want Flint little kids to have what they need. And I wish we could do for all, but we can't. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. I would like to have a number and a contact number to give to the administrative assistant here.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak?
Madam Chair, if I may respond
Sure.
to.
Yeah.
What's your name again? I'm sorry, ma'am. Miss Lee. The company I work for, I'll make sure you get my card. That's what we help with, and we can help you with donations and things like that.
Thank
you. Okay.
We need yarn, okay?
Okay.
We have a 91-year lady who lives in Flint who crochets these hats. And so, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. We would love to continue talking with you, so don't leave too quick. Trustee Rutherford, you need someone to take that down, please.
We good?
Go ahead.
Hello, my name's Andrew Gauthier. Born and raised in Flint, was a Flint police officer for 24 years, worked in the schools for 8 as a liaison officer. Since retiring, I now work for the Flint Cultural Center. My office is 817 East Kersley, which is the old Walker School, which is right next to your administration building. My biggest concern, unfortunately, is kind of selfish. I know you have several empty schools in the city that are creating a lot of problems. My biggest problem is Central and Whittier. Just this past weekend alone, as Hamidy's prom was getting out, you had a fire behind the school that smoked out everybody coming out of that prom. And then Sunday night into Monday morning, we had a group of guys go into Central with flashlights, come out, grab a rock, and throw a rock through the window at FIA. So we have this beautiful cultural center here, and we have this building next to it that's just a huge eyesore. People are living in it and creating a ton of problems on my campus. I'm the director of safety and security for the campus, and I have nonstop problems with people coming in and out of Central. Me and Mr. Luna have talked about some solutions that we've tried, but I would beg of you guys to try and come up with a solution. I know you've heard it 100 times, probably 1,000,000 times, because I deal with also with the Central Park neighborhood every month, and I know they're coming here regularly and talk about this, but I just wanted to throw another word in about it. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak at this time? Thank you. Thank everyone. I now call upon Superintendent Jones to present action items to the board.
Okay. All right. Thank you, board, for your thank you and appreciate you changing the agenda for us. So understand that as we move forward, that particular agenda item is omitted from the resolution 1.7. So I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve resolution 1.7, personnel recommendation.
Madam Chair,
Where is that at?
I make a motion we approve action item 1.7.
A second.
It had been motioned by Trustee King, second by Mr. Clark.
That was me. I made the motion to approve.
I'm sorry, I didn't look up. Today's one of those days. Thank you, guys. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is the minutes going to reflect the resent of that?
Yes,
Of the, okay, thanks, Pam.
Is there any more discussions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move resolution 1.7, personnel recommendations, will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins is absent. Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Myself, President McNeil, yes. 6 yes, 1 absent. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Jones.
seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 5.2, adoption of policies.
Support.
Who supported?
I did.
Is there any discussions?
Madam Chair, I have a comment.
Yes.
First, I want to commend the board, Mr. Jones, and all the folks who've been really helping us get this policy updated, both what's required by statute, but also some changes we all made. But I will say this, and we're working on it, even though it's not as publicly known, but what's missing from this, obviously, is our vacant property discussion we've had over the last several months. I believe the meeting was on April 30th. I was not present, or maybe it was a different meeting, but I know it was in closed session where we met with folks to discuss vacant property policy. I'd reached out to you, so hopefully we can get back on that to be more proactive in this space. We've talked about that. You know, we talked about our work done on McKinley demolishing the unit, obviously Washington, but I mean, I gotta be honest, I live 2 blocks from the high school that had the building burn last Saturday, and I could smell the smoke and I could see the flames, so I mean, I get it. I mean, it's tough. I didn't know there was a prom there either at the FIA, so I mean, that is also an issue when you have, you know, students and youth who can see that whether they're FCS scholars or not. But Again, I'm not criticizing anybody, I'm just saying, let's get back to work on that as a body.
Thank you, Trustee Lona. Are there any more discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
through you to Executive Secretary, Ms. Beard, if she could explain the readings so that it's clear what actually happened,
What reading?
what we were supposed to do, and how we've done it. You know what I'm talking about, Pam? Please and thank you.
Okay, so, go ahead. Yep, you're good to go. Go ahead.
It's simple.
After that, you have a second reading. Once you all do the second reading, and that does not have to be in a formal meeting. It can be how it was last week. You can go over the policy. If there's no changes or anything that you guys see, then you adopt the policies, which is what you'll be doing tonight.
Thank you. My reason for that is the public isn't sure, and sometimes it's just good to be transparent because we know what's going on, but the public have a right to have an understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And just to see an agenda with a lot of policies, procedures, changes, and updates, and we just approve it, you know, is to also verification to show that there is a process that we must follow when we approve certain things. And I'm big on transparency, and I'm definitely going to make sure that this board is transparent as it relates to any adoptions, any policies, or any properties that we're going to off-board. So just look for me to be definitely transparent. Thank you, Pam.
Are there any more discussion? Seeing none, we would take a roll call vote to adopt the policy. Secretary Perkins is absent. Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Myself, Mike Neola, is a yes. 6 yes, 1 absent. Proceed, Mr. Jones.
Okay. We are going to have our CFO come before you. Actually, I seek this motion. So we're going to have her come and present, and then I will seek the motion afterwards.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, Ms. Cleaves. I'm sorry.
Good evening. Good evening, Board. We're going to talk about the Shared Business Services Quarterly Fiscal Update, and we'll wait for the presentation to load. Okay, this will be quarterly report number 3, and the purpose is to just provide the Board of Education with an update on the Shared Business Services collaboration with GISD. For tonight's agenda, we'll do the 23-24 Budget Amendment 2 and also give you an ESSER 3 update. So when and why do we recommend budget amendments? One is the best practice for school finance to amend a budget. This could be based on an audited financial statement or just any updated information, particularly information that has been estimated in budgets. Budget amendments also help to ensure fiscal management and transparency and also address budget variances in a timely fashion. Timely budget amendments also help to inform short and long-term decisions based on the most accurate information available. So Budget Amendment 2. Budget Amendment 1 was presented on November 8th, 2023. Revenue was $126 million, expenditures $132 million, which would have deducted from the fund balance of $6 million. Tonight I'm coming before you for Budget Amendment 2 with our revenue estimated at $162 million. Our expenditures are $166 million, and this will be a deduction from the fund balance of $3 million. The variances, we will be adding $36 million in revenue and $34 million in expenditures, and the variance in the fund balance we will actually be adding is a difference of $2 million. Some of the key variables that impacted this budget amendment are, we make sure that our grant revenue equals our grant expenses, and we received additional grant revenue. That grant revenue that we received is going to be on the next 3 slides. We also have an increase in our teacher staff salaries and benefits from the settlement agreement, and those are also included in this budget amendment too. We also had transportation and sub costs that we were able to move from general fund to grant funds. So that was able to relieve some of the general fund. But before we get too excited, we do have a final amendment, and then we'll be talking about the initial amendment for 24-25 next month. And I also have a clearer picture of where we will be with the structural deficit that was presented on November 8th. Also, title carryover dollars are not in the budget amendment 2 because they are still awaiting approval by MDE. So those carryover dollars will be included in your final amendment. So the next 3 slides will talk about the different grant awards. I'm not really going to go in depth in them. These were actually presented in your quarterly report too. ESSER 3 update. So for ESSER 3, our allocation for this year was $76 million. Our total grant was $99 million. However, for this school year, we had $76 million that we needed to allocate. Those funds have been fully allocated. The expenditures so far are at $49 million, and we have $26 million remaining. We've obligated $13 million. What that means is we have purchase orders or contracts that equivalent to $13 million right now. The difference is roughly $12 million, and that will be salaries and expenses that we will still be paying throughout the end of the year, the fiscal year.
Ms. Cleves, can I add? So what that means, board, is we can't spend out the salary money until actually the last check is given. So it's going to equal out to 0 by the time that the ESSER 3 ends. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. You're going to always see money that we haven't spent because you have to wait until the very last check is given. All right, thank you.
And also, no problem, also in there is construction costs. We still are spending on construction, so we have through the summer to get construction done as well.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Ms. Cleves. Ms. Cleves, let's go back to these grant awards.
Okay.
I need to see numbers. I'm just saying, because so much money is going out.
They're on the screen, so.
No, what I'm looking at, I thought you said you weren't going to go in depth, and I'm looking at Title I. I don't see amounts with Title I, Title II, Title IV, and Title what? What is this?
One information. I don't think we have the updated presentation, but the numbers are behind us.
I know what I'm saying. When you stated you wasn't going in depth, that threw me. What do you mean by you're not going to go in depth?
Oh, I just wasn't going to read each grant and the award amount.
Okay. All right, go ahead. I was looking there. So I knew the number, but I didn't know what.
Okay. Yep,
okay.
I just wasn't going to go over each one.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No problem. Okay. This next slide is the COVID fund spending, and it's a link here, and you can go to this link and always get an update on the ESSER spending for the district. It also lists all districts in the state of Michigan on this link. The next slide is ESSER impact. So right now, our recurring costs, which costs that we have that are occurring more than one time, are salaries and benefits, contracted services, and utilities. All of those are in our ESSER grant right now, and next year, they will be included in the initial budget for general fund. The one-time costs that are ESSER are curriculum, construction costs, and supplies, and they're just the one-time costs. So they will not be in a budget, and they will be done. So that's just kind of a synopsis of what to expect with ESSER and how it's going to impact our general fund.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Mrs. Cleaves. First off, thanks for doing the presentation and answering questions outside of the meeting, but that's helpful that you put numbers behind the line item. And the question I'm going to ask tonight, I don't want an answer tonight because there's a lot of information that involves, but just to let you know where I'm thinking in the future. So the good thing is we spent a lot of money doing capital improvement that's going to last us a long time, right? Supplies like the laptops and other things, and I forget the term, but to prevent like the spread of COVID, that's a one-time expense. I think what I'm thinking about is as we look towards the future, the money that we have from ESSER that's spent on salaries, you know, how many people do we use to fund those positions? And as we look forward in the future, how can we best maximize our general fund dollars to really retain as much as we can, because obviously those are going to be still needed to support our students. But I just want to put my thought out there for you so you can know where I'm thinking. Thank you so much for the presentation.
No problem. Ms. Clee, Madam Chair, can I ask a question? ESSER dollars could not be used for salary, correct? It could be used only for bonuses, correct?
No, right now we are using it for salaries.
Now you're using ESSER dollars for salary. Did that change? Because I know at one point in time they were stating that you could only use them for stipends and bonuses. Is that?
So we had ESSER 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
So right now with the ESSER 3, we're able to use it for salaries.
So they made a change. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No,
Okay.
no. So what happened, trustee, is I know what you're asking.
Correct.
So I could not use ESSER funds to give raises.
Correct.
But we could put our salaries, have ESSER pay for salaries as long as we have it. But we can't give raises through ESSER.
Okay, help me with this.
Yeah.
Help me. If you could pay, so help me, explain that to me. You can't give raises with ESSERs, but you can pay salaries. Is that what, I'm repeating back what I heard.
So I can't use ESSER funds to determine, so we couldn't make any settlement agreements based on ESSER funds itself. So I'm gonna pay you this agreement with these ESSER funds. We can't do that. You can't do that.
But you can pay salaries.
You can take you can take your cost of salaries, yes, for the time being.
Okay.
When ESSER ends, you won't be able to do any of that.
Okay.
So we're able to supplant,
Okay.
yes,
You know you're supposed to stay away from that word supplant.
yes.
The reason I ask these questions in public because I need the public to understand what we're doing. So when individuals, feel as though I'm not reading the packet, no, I read the packet. I just want the public to know I'm reading the packet and I'm paying attention to numbers. My colleagues may not understand that, but I'm transparent. But Ms. Cleaves, I appreciate you. I have all the confidence in the world in you. And I don't say that lightly, but I trust you. I really do. And I appreciate you being transparent, and whenever I reach out to you, you always respond. So I just want to publicly acknowledge that for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So Board of Education, I seek a motion and a second from the board to.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So then the budget hearing is scheduled for June 18th. And at that time will be your final amendment for the 23-24 school year, and then initial budget for next year, 24-25.
If anyone in the public, and it's been going on for 3 or 4 years, wants to know what the guideline and procedure for ESSA 1, 2, and 3, you can go to that website. We done had MDE that came before the board and spoke to the public when the auditorium was very full. So if you want to know that information, it's available. You can go to our website, and they give us the guideline. We don't make the guidelines, so everything on this board is pretty transparent. Proceed, Mr. Jones.
You have a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to give accolades to Director Cleaves.
Yes.
We appreciate you for being
We
thorough.
do. We really do.
For presenting to us about the budget amendment and the where we're at. Fiscal cliff is coming as all school districts across the country. But I appreciate the updates and the thoroughness in it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Trustee Perkins? You fine?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 11.34, 24-25.
So moved.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I think I'm asking you to approve the food service before I ask you.
1.33.
Yeah, 11.33. I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 11.33, approval of the FY24 Budget Amendment Number 2.
We need a motion and a second.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve 11.33.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Are there any discussions?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think this makes total sense. I'm glad that, again, for the thorough presentation. Commending you the last couple of years of having these forms explaining how the money is spent, all the different terms. Mrs. Cleaves, her predecessors, for educating the board and the public about what is allowable, what's not allowable, what these terms mean. So I really do appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve Resolution 11.33, approval of the fiscal year 24 budget amendment, will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins.
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre.
Yes.
Vice President Clack.
Yes.
Trustee Relaford.
No.
Trustee King.
Yes.
Treasurer Luna.
Yes.
Myself, President McNeil, yes. 6 yes, 1 no. Proceed, Mr. Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 11.34, 24-25 Food Service Management Contract Renewal.
I make a motion that we move Resolution 1134 for the 2024-25 Food Service Management Contract Renewal.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Cleaves, I know this is to renew the contract, and there's been mostly increases and one decrease when it came to a la carte meals. Could you just explain to us kind of like how that worked out, or why that is?
Yes. So this information was received from Chartwell's, and it is based on the Consumer Price Index.
Okay.
It gives us a limit of what fees can be charged as well as what the meal costs can be. And so that's the amounts that were in there. So we had to decrease it based on the information that was provided.
Got you. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve Resolution 11.34, 2024-25 Food Service Management Contract will be conducted by a roll call. Board members, I call your name. Please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Relaford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Myself, President McNeil. I assume that's 7 yes, 0 no.
You ready,
was that?
Dr. McDaniel?
Ms. still on finance? Oh, she got another one? At this time,
She's been kind of low today.
oh, yes, that's right. At this time, I would like to ask Mrs. Cleese to join us for the Shared Business Service Quarterly Physical Update, followed by the check register presentation.
So provided tonight was the check register. This was for the month of April. The amount of money that was spent was $11 million, and this was from various accounts, including your grant accounts as well as general fund account, and these were all the bills that were paid to vendors for the month of April.
Is that it?
Yep.
Do any board member have any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, trustee Oliver?
Ms. Cleaves, why are we buying water? Why are we still buying water?
Is that for the Apsapure?
Yeah.
So that water is water that is provided throughout the district. It's the bottled water service.
What is in regards to what? We're still buying water?
Point of information,
I'm just asking a question.
Uh-huh.
well, Chris will answer that.
Yep.
She
It-
can answer that.
Yep.
It's mostly 5-gallon jugs that we have supplementing our water.
As in all the faucets aren't working in some schools? Okay. That's what I didn't know. Thank you, Mr. Henderson.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaves, how you doing today?
Good.
I just have a few quick questions. I thought, maybe this might, we got some new football pants?
Exactly.
We purchased new football pants, yes.
What they look like?
She wouldn't know.
I'm just trying to be funny. I want to know. I really want to know.
You
And
have to
also,
ask Mr. Foster.
okay. Also, there are two the very last ones, Detroit Zoo, Freeman School. They took a field trip to Detroit Zoo, or they're going to take a field trip. They did take a field trip.
Yes.
Was this the entire school that went?
I am not sure.
No, it wasn't the entire school. What we could do, like board members, if there's like specific in-depth questions,
We could.
yeah, I would say that, we try to get them to our executive assistant, but what she can try to answer you is about paying it.
Right.
Thank you.
She wouldn't know
Thank you.
exactly what
Right.
the school did per se, and sometimes I wouldn't either, as far as how many went or things of that nature. But we could get the answers to you. We could get the answers to you.
You just saw it.
I've been seeing it. Madam Chair,
Yes.
why it sound like I'm getting on your nerves? Ms. Cleaves, this $5,000 that I'm looking at for a speaker. I know you know. Is there any way we could? We are a district that is asking the state to help us relieve some debt. How do we explain paying somebody $5,000 to come and a reading speaker?
So this would have been in a grant and would have been approved by the state to spend that on the speaker. I believe it's the literacy grant, but I can double check for sure.
So with our literacy grant, we're spending more money on a person to come and talk instead of, there's no other way we could spend our dollars?
Point of information.
Thank you.
Through you to my colleague, can you point out where you're referring to?
If you go to the last page, page 6, it's
Okay.
the second to the last entry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I guess for me, when I see this, something big like that that's going to basically an entertainer, as far as I'm concerned, I would like for me to know what grant is coming out of, because that just doesn't, to me, that's not a good look. I just want us to get out of for entertainment purposes only. $5,000 for, what, an hour to be in front of kids? Not per se for you, but that stood out to me.
Trustee King?
I did understand my colleague sentiments, but also would say what this person did for the district literacy event was a form of art for scholars to be able to express themselves in different ways. It's poetry. As a scholar, former scholar of FCS that expressed itself through poetry, seeing this individual in the community and making impact on our scholars and across the county and the state, how she's going everywhere and speaking about certain things, using poetry in different ways of expressing oneself. I wouldn't call it, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't call that entertainment. I think that was needed to expose our scholars how to express themselves through different arts. That is an art. I don't see it as an entertainment purpose because scholars was intrigued, just as other speakers there were also fabulous to show our scholars that poetry is an option for, don't forget our district is majority black kids, right? Like that is something to expose our young black scholars to that, as well as all the races. But I'm being specific into this because it's intentional, that we expose our students to every art, provide opportunities for those for our scholars. So I just want to make sure I say that I appreciate the art of this individual person and our team for bringing this person to Flint Community Schools. Thanks.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I agree with my colleague, Trustee King, 100%. Just to go a bit more into that, really the whole process, for the public's purpose and knowledge, we have an entire team that works closely with this board, MDE, and our friends at the federal government when it comes to our budget process. But this board actually approves the budget, so everything that's spent in this, not every line item, but we've approved the programmatic expense. When it comes to how the administration and then the individual school leaders believe how they should best spend that money, I do trust them 110%. I mean, you talk about educating the whole child, so you have your math, you have your English, reading, etc. There's other things that enrich those core subjects when it comes to wraparound services, whether it be arts, whether it be things like STEM. So I get it. I hear my colleague, but I mean, I'm not gonna go through every item and just like nitpick about everything.
You should.
I'm not, that's not my role. My role as governance, my role as in governance as a board, but also as the treasurer of the finance subcommittee and committee of the whole, is to work with the administration, other partners who give us funding, ask the right questions so the public knows it, but I'm not the CFO. I'm not within the business department. Now, we did approve to enter in agreement with the ISD, and I've been so pleased with that since we've done that. So I hear the sentiment, but I mean, just to circle back, this board approved this budget that allowed for these spending items. We all did. I can go back to the minutes, so 7-0. But two, we have to trust their leadership. And again, to my colleague's point, our kids deserve good things. It's not our job to prolong this meeting when we got this information before in advance. Thank you.
I'll raise a point. Sure.
Yeah, and I too do not want to prolong the meeting. However, this is actually a really good point or example of the tremendous work that we are doing in the district. And this single expenditure, and I don't believe she would mind if we gave her the promotion, because Mama Soul is an amazing artist.
She is.
I have seen her perform in other areas of the country. She is local, specifically to Flint and Detroit, and is internationally renowned. We are lucky to have her and her commitment to Flint and the Flint water crisis. I can't speak highly enough of her. And Trustee King talked about her specifically for African Americans. I think she adds to everybody in the community. I particularly enjoy, it's as Trustee Luna said, this is not entertainment. This is math, art, science, inspiration from someone who is local, committed, and who deserves to be highlighted and compensated. And I am very proud of the fact that we utilized grant dollars in a very constructive, local way. We talk a lot about not outsourcing our services. This is insourcing, in a way, to someone who, like I said, I can't speak highly enough of and it's a disservice to say it's entertainment. If you haven't seen or experienced Mama Soul, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is community partnership and collaboration, and this isn't even out of the general funds. This is utilizing title money, grant money. This is what it's about. This is what public education is about and what it's for. So thank you for your indulgence.
Trustee Perkins?
I concur with my colleagues. I know Mama Soul personally, and it's also a form of history. And especially with the current events that we're all facing, she captures it. And it makes everybody accountable and understand, what's going on. So I'm with the colleagues.
Do any board members have any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Cleese, if they don't.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cleve.
Continue with the agenda, Superintendent Jones.
I seek a motion and a second for the Board of Education to approve action item 21.20, FCS Service Agreement, State and Federal Programming Supports.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve 21.20.
Support.
Is there any discussions? No. Is there any discussion? Seeing no further discussion. The motion to approve action item 21.20, FCS Service Agreement, State and Federal Program Support will be conducted by roll call. Board members, I call your name. Please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
No.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, President McNeil, 6 yes, 1 no. Board member, in your package is the calendar of the district events and acknowledgement. Do any board member have any question for the superintendent?
Board President,
Yes.
if I may,
Sure.
kind of read them out to the public
Please do.
so that they'll know.
Yes.
Okay. So we wanted to, we're on, it's after page 4.
Thank you.
So we just want to let our public know what's going on in the district and upcoming events. And board members, again, if you have any questions. Last week, Trustee King had began reading off some of the things that's going on in the district. And we picked up on that as something we possibly should do in our regular board meeting. So May 16th, we have kindergarten roundup, 10 to 3 p.m. This is an opportunity for new incoming kindergartners to join the district. May 16th also, Pierce's Family Future Focus meeting and tour for families will be at Doyle Ryder. So we are looking forward to that as well. May 18th, the class of 2024 prom. That's this Saturday at Sloan Museum from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that is at the Sloan Museum of Discovery. And then May 28th, from 12 to 4 p.m., our job fair at Michigan Works. And May 30th, from 8 a.m. to 12:15 p.m., our college and career day at Southwestern Classical Academy. On June 4th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., the class of 20 24 will be graduating at Flint at the FIM Whiting Auditorium, and we will be graduating over 111 scholars. So we're proud about that.
Yes,
June 19th, all day we'll be celebrating Juneteenth. The district will be closed. Again, just to remind the board, the June 18th will be the budget hearing. June 18th will be the budget hearing. June 24th through July 18th, FCS Summer School pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, 8th grade, Power on Camp, and Power Up Camp, and 9th through 12th grade will be credit recovery. And the days of the week will be Monday through Thursday. Our sites will be Freeman Elementary, Doyle Ryder, for pre-K through 5th grade, Home STEM Middle School, and Southwestern Classical Academy, 6th through 8th grade, Accelerated Learning Academy, and Southwestern Classical Academy, 9th through 12th grade. And again, another job fair at Michigan Works, June 25th. And then July 22nd through July 25th.
Excuse me.
I think this is a repeat. Is this a repeat? Yep, this is a repeat. Extended Summer School Experience for the Flint Center of Educational Excellence. So we will be extending, and they will be going on adventure. This will be an adventure week for them to go on field trips.
Okay.
So just wanted to let the board know what's going on in the district, and we appreciate all of the approvals for tonight. Thank you.
Is there any questions from the board? No questions? Okay, good. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Fields to join us for the monthly. You gonna take
Yep.
that?
So Ms. Fields went home sick today.
Okay.
So board members, please look at your packet, and Ms. Fields will come back with the academic update in our June meeting.
Okay.
Sorry, I should.
That's okay. That's all right. We all human. Do any board member have any comments or remarks before we adjourn?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I do have some remarks, if I may go.
I can hear.
Yeah, first off, you know, I think every one of us gets a call about a vacant property, whether it be a break-in, illegal activities. Like I mentioned, I live 2 blocks from the central campus, so I actually saw the fire and smelled the smoke, even in the morning. I think you should too. But get back on my well of saying, we hear you, but we have to do action. And I do commend my colleagues when it comes to taking action. I believe a month and a half ago, we approved the demolition of a unit on McKinley campus, not the actual main building, but there is a burnt out unit. But let's be real, we have to act a lot faster. We have a lot of properties, and every property we maintain is less money into our classrooms, supporting our students and teachers. That takes more funding. That takes an actual policy, which we're working on. It's taking longer than I would like it to, but we're working on the policy. But that also takes partnerships with our community. I think I spoke to most of you all, or at least called you Monday and Tuesday. I called some neighborhood associations. I talked to people from different organizations. What may not be evident at this meeting, there is work being done and there are ideas being shared, and I'm optimistic that it will be addressed, but I get it. It's not fast enough. I see it, I hear it, and I want you to know that we're working to address this issue comprehensively, proactively, and in partnership with everyone who wants to help out with it.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, would you like to respond to the things that we're working on as it relates to this?
Sure.
issue?
We have been meeting with the city of Flint with ideas and opportunities. I did have conversations with our mayor and also with his officials, and the collaboration has been great over the last month with the city of Flint, and the ideas that they're bringing forward to the district and how we could maybe put some metal across our doors. Mr. Henderson is checking in on that to ensure that we are keeping our property safe. We're trying to lock both ends of the drives. In some of those schools like Northern, We're going to be locking both ends of the drive, working in tandem with the city on that currently, and some of the other properties. Central is a difficult property due to the fact that we share entrance with the library. It is a difficult property, but the city and I have been talking, the police chief and also the fire chief, and we're trying to come up with the best solution that the city is working with us and supporting us on for that property, and that's one of the most difficult properties. But Wilkins, they're dumping at Wilkins. So we went over to Bryant. I know the city councilman for that area talked to me the other day, and the back of Bryant has been totally wiped out. And so Mr. Henderson and the team is on top of that. Things are happening as it pertains to us securing our buildings. We are working with constituents and partners to support that work. There's going to be some things to come to the board in the proper timing. I will be emailing you all about what we come up with the city and also with our operations team.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Seeing none. Oh, yes.
Yes, so I know it's not usual to respond specifically to public comments, but I would like to take time to appreciate Judge Marable for coming forward with the suggestion about, and the reminder about driver's education. It's something that's one of the things that we're diligently working on behind the scenes, and it's very gratifying to see prominent members of our community come forward to support us moving forward, and I welcome his help and his input and his suggestion about Student of the Month. It's nice to see these things coming together in our community, moving forward in a positive direction, so I want to thank him. And to the women of Let's Sew for Flint Kids, as they mentioned, they've been around since the 1970s, and I don't know if anyone remembers the schools back then, if you're old enough, but we actually did have what was called a continuation school, and members of Let's Sew for Kids provided, the continuation school was for students who were pregnant and had children. It had a dedicated nurse, it had prenatal services, it had a nursery, it had sewing classes, it had a lot of, it was a great alternative school. My dad actually taught there. He taught at the, it was called the Flint Schools of Choice. It was an alternative high school where the old St. Michael's was. So it's nice to see, and it's a good reminder to see you've got people who love this community and who are working. You don't often see what they're doing or see the efforts and the contributions they're making, but it's this tireless, diligent, day-to-day toil of dedicated people who love this city and who want to come together in a positive way. So I'm glad to see them, and it kind of jogged my memory because I remember, being a little girl and helping out with the sewing and learning some stitches and things like that. But I look forward to these. These are just two examples among many. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to the community. Please come forward, join us, come to the meetings, share in our progress for Flint schools, because our enrollment is increasing. We're doing the best we can with what little resources that we have. And it would be nice to share some of those efforts and resources, because the Flint schools are for the community. They're for everybody. It's a public treasure and a public resource. Thank you.
I would just like to take this time to give kudos to the entire staff, the board, and to recognize that we have grown our enrollment and our graduating class over the past 2 years, because last year it was 79, but I believe the year before that was 50-something, wasn't it? 60? 56. So I would like to, I think we're going in the right direction. I would like everybody to recognize that, and just to put that on the record that, we're moving up. We still got a long way to go, but I just want to, take the time to say that. That's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would just like to just say I am a fan of Mama Soul, so I didn't want anybody to think that I didn't know who Mama Soul was. And I really want to speak to Black history, and a lot of people may not understand that cowboys and cowgirls started in the Black culture, and I would hope that our students would have an opportunity to go to a rodeo that would be here June the 7th and June the 8th. So to me, that is a great opportunity for our kids to learn their history, what it means, and the pride that goes with that. And also, I'm glad to hear that we are partnership with the City of Flint in regards to securing our properties. But however, I do have to share a call that was made to an agency that has purchased a couple of our properties, and their rent is $1,800 a month. And that's concerning to me because I don't think our population can afford something like that. So when I saw that, I was going to share it with my colleagues, but I assumed if I saw it, everyone else saw it. And also, I just want to make sure that we're utilizing our property to take care of our students. We were in a meeting and found out that our students didn't even have bags to carry their sports equipment in it. They were using Kroger bags. So when I look at the district off-boarding buildings, I would like for some of those dollars to go towards the students to meet their needs, because it's not a good thing. And then also knowing that the students ride the city bus when they're participating in activities. With the current environment that we're in, we need to keep our students safe at all times, and it's all about the students. So for me, whenever we have dollars that are available, I would like them to go directly to the students so it can make an immediate impact. And especially with the young ladies that came up with the great sewing and blankets and things like that, I think that should be money that is readily available for schools, so that the students that need a blanket, there is a blanket. There's no reason why we should not have blankets at school, especially if we think we could spend $5,000 on a person to come and talk. So I'm just asking that we do better in areas, especially when we want someone to come in and help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We are sending students to the rodeo, not all the students. That is already in the process for the public to know. We are participating, some of our students, in the rodeo. As related to our school bags that we have plans for that. We have money already set aside, allocated for those different bags that's coming forth that you guys will hear about soon. So I want the public to know that this district is on board with moving forward. We do not shortchange our community. We are not shortchanging our teachers anymore. We on Progress Road. I want to thank the judge for coming out, because you confirmed what I had been out in the community looking for, and I got some support to help partnership with open up a driver's range. Hopefully it'll be Northwestern to help us with that. It's a very good, matter of fact, Ms. McIntyre was in that meeting, a very good conversation. It's time that our children learn how to read and drive. So we are working for that. And swim. And so, Judge, I appreciate you coming to this board today and bring great respect and honor. Seeing that there's no more discussion, this meeting, and our next meeting is probably June the 12th. at 6:30 right here, same location. Seeing no further business of the board, I declare the regular meeting adjourned. 7:41. You all have a great day.